Welcome back to Midwest Access. I'm Viv Williams. Well, townhomes, twin homes, condos, and co-ops. There's a big market for these types of living spaces in our area. Robin Gwaltney from the Gwaltney Group is here with details on that, and she'll describe what each of those types of houses actually offer. Thanks for being here today.
Of course.
So we were talking, just as we were getting ready for this segment, about the number of these types of living spaces that are on the market. Tell us about that.
So I just thought it was interesting when I was researching, because we were talking about high-end homes last week, you know, and how many homes are on the market over $1 million. So I thought, well, obviously there's got to be something for everybody, right? So I dug in and I found out that townhomes, twin homes, condos, and co-ops, and we can talk about how they differ, only make up 10 to 15% of all the homes. So that means there's only like 6,000 to 10,000 of these types of homes, but yet they sell really fast because there's a high demand for them.
And they seem to be popping up more too. You know,
Well,
I see a lot of buildings, or are they apartments?
Buildings. Those are apartments.
Okay.
So apartment buildings are estimated to be 25 to 30% of our homes. So when we say, I'm going home, home to some people is to their condo, some people it's their $1 million house, some people it's their apartment, but home is home, right?
Right.
So when we talk about it, like 58 to 61% of the homes are traditional single-family homes. Then another 25 to 30% are apartments, and then only 10 to 15% are condos, co-ops, townhomes. So
That surprises me, though.
we need more.
Yeah.
We need more. Yes, we definitely need more. The downfall of them, of course, is that they come with an association fee. So you have your mortgage, and then you have to pay an additional fee. And if that additional fee is $200, $300, $500, like when you get to the co-ops and the condos, some of them have a higher association fee because they also cover heat or electricity or internet or more amenities. But you would be paying those bills anyway,
Right.
no matter where you live. So it's just, that's a high association fee. Yes, but if you're not paying electricity or heat, so you just have to understand it going in. I think the big draw to these types of houses in Rochester is people would rather invest in a purchase than rent, because if you're the landlord or I'm the landlord and the tenant is paying rent, they're building wealth for us, but not for themselves, right?
Right.
Whereas if they can buy a condo or buy a townhome, they still don't have to worry about the house maintenance because they have the association for that. They still don't have to find the time for mowing or shoveling, but it's theirs. And when they sell it, they've built some equity.
Right. And so those association fees cover things that you would have to do. So if you're not a handy person, having someone to mow and shovel it and all that stuff is really great. But are there also restrictions as to what you can do to the home yourself?
There are.
Yeah. Right.
And so sometimes that's, some people don't like that. Like you can only have these kind of plantings. You can't, you have to be the same color as all the rest of them. You can't change your siding color. I actually have one right now that I have for sale. And the folks bought it some years back when their daughter did a residency here, and they put a beautiful front door on it because they didn't like the plain white 6-panel door. And now it's time to sell, and the association is insisting that they put the original door back on, which they don't have, but they have to buy one like it because they won't let them sell it with that door that's different, because that's part of being an association. It's like they keep everything, uniform.
And it's a mixed blessing, depending on what your needs are, right?
It's a mixed blessing because, you're not going to get the neighbor that puts all the gaudy Christmas stuff in the yard because the association's going to be the bad guy. You don't have to be the bad guy.
That's really
so
nice.
So there are pluses, for sure.
Yes. When we're talking about these, would you kind of tell us the distinction between the different types of, townhomes,
Sure,
all that, and condos? Yeah.
So condos are typically like we think of an apartment building that you own. Okay, so like you go in the building, you get on the elevator, there's a whole bunch of units on the floor, but you own it instead of rent it. So like Rochester Towers downtown it's an old one now. That's what we really need, is one downtown. It'd be really nice to have a high-end condo downtown. There's such a desire for that. But your laundry is in the building, all this stuff. So it's similar to an apartment building in the way you live, but you own it. So those are the ones that typically have the higher association fees because you've got underground parking, you've got usually a pool or a gym or a lot of the amenities. So your association fee covers all that. But then I say you don't pay to go to the gym. You have a gym there, those kind of things. So they have more. A townhome is usually the most desired, and there's sometimes 2 connected to each other, sometimes 4 connected to each other, but in Rochester we have a lot of standalone townhomes. So it's basically like a single family home, maybe slab on grade, maybe has an upstairs, but you get you have like the sort of the privacy of your own home because you don't have connected walls sometimes, but yet you still have the restrictions. But I mean, it's part of living in an association.
Right. You get your grass mowed and your sidewalk shoveled.
Right. So that's kind of the difference. And there's twin homes where, you've seen those. It's like there's one on each side. A lot of people buy those. They live in one side, rent out the other. Then once they've made enough money, they rent out both sides, and that becomes their investment property. Then they move. So it's a really great way for young buyers to start out. So I think it's really important for buyers to understand the difference and understand what they offer, because then they have options when it comes time to get into the market.
What about a co-op? How does that differ?
So the co-ops are usually 55 and over.
Okay.
So they usually have restrictions for age, and then they do things like trips to the mall on Thursday afternoon, or things like that.
Treasure Island.
Yeah. So it's more. I don't want to say it's assisted living because it's not. You're very much independent, but it's more of a community. So not so much like I don't pay attention to what my neighbor does, but very much the difference. We meet in the lobby and play cards, play bridge at 4 o'clock on Thursdays. That's what we have to look forward to in our older years.
Yay, and Mahjong. I want to learn how to play Mahjong.
I want to learn how to play that. It's kind of a big thing now.
Totally. Yeah. My mom used to play it. I'm like, I'm going to do that. But Robin, is there anything that we missed that you want to make sure that we cover?
No, I just was really surprised. I mean, I've been noticing the apartments come up. I was really surprised to know that 25 to 30% of homes in Rochester are now apartments, and only 10 to 15% townhomes. So for all those builders out there, let's figure out where we can put up some townhomes, some condos for people that want the no maintenance but want to own.
Yeah, love it. Okay, thank you for being here, as always.
Absolutely.
All right, well, still ahead on Midwest Access, have you heard of a death doula? They offer many end-of-life services to help ease the process, including planning, plus a beautiful story about the healing power of music. And here's the question of the day one more time. Which company manufactures the most tires each year? Remember, there's a twist to this. We'll be right back.